Good afternoon. I'm Alex Tock, the director of the Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership. Thank you all for coming today. Tommy Thompson accepted the call to public leadership and proudly worked with colleagues on both sides of the aisle to advance the public good. By his example, the Thompson Center was established to facilitate effective public leadership. Consistent with Tommy's legacy, the Distinguished Public Leadership Award seeks to recognize Wisconsinites who have committed themselves to public service, worked tirelessly to advance sound public policy, and exhibited virtuous leadership. To receive the award, a recipient must be a Wisconsin resident, have served Wisconsin in a leadership role in local, state, or federal government office, and have exhibited a collegial approach to public service and an ability to work effectively with citizens and colleagues from all walks of life in the spirit of Governor Thompson. The Thompson Center sought nominations for the Distinguished Public Leadership Award from across the state. The Center's Faculty Advisory Committee and Public Leadership Board appointed a panel to review nominees and select no more than 5 finalists to forward for consideration as award recipients. The panel includes Ray Allen, Tim Cullen, Bonnie Lee, Will Martin, Libby Sobchik, Gerard Whitburn, and Kate Zuski. Their recommendations are then forwarded to the Thompson Center's Faculty Advisory Committee and Public Leadership Board. I want to thank everybody involved in the selection process for all their time and work. Today, I am pleased to recognize Dr. Howard Fuller as the 2026 recipient of the Distinguished Public Leadership Award. Howard Fuller was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, and raised in Milwaukee. A standout basketball player at North Division High School, he earned a scholarship to Carroll College in Waukesha, where he was part of the institution's first racially integrated class, graduating with a BS in sociology in 1962. He went on to earn an MSA in social administration from Case Western Reserve University in 1964, and 2 decades later, a PhD in the sociological foundations of education from Marquette University in 1986. In 1964, as a graduate student at Case Western, he joined the Congress of Racial Equality and was arrested in a sit-in protesting school segregation. In the years that followed, he became a nationally known community organizer in Durham, North Carolina, and in 1969 co-founded Malcolm X Liberation University, an early and influential experiment in independent Black education. Returning to Milwaukee, Dr. Fuller built a long record of public service. He served as Associate Director of the Educational Opportunity Program at Marquette University, Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Employment Relations, Dean of General Education at Milwaukee Area Technical College, and Director of the Milwaukee County Department of Health and Human Services, before being appointed Superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools from 1991 to 1995. In 1995, he founded the Institute for Transformation of Learning at Marquette University, which he led until his retirement, and served concurrently as a senior fellow with the Annenberg Institute for School Reform at Brown University. Dr. Fuller became one of the country's most recognizable and persistent voices for fundamental education reform and for the rights of parents, particularly low-income parents and parents of color, to choose the schools their children attend. He co-founded the Black Alliance for Educational Options in 2000, and the school now known as the Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy in 2004. And in 2014, he published his memoir, No Struggle, No Progress, A Warrior's Life, From Black Power to Education Reform. Dr. Fuller retired from Marquette in June 2020 as Distinguished Professor Emeritus, leaving behind a legacy recognized by 5 honorary doctorates, as well as induction into the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools Hall of Fame, the Athletic Halls of Fame at North Division High School and Carroll University, and the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He was named Distinguished Alumnus of the Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences at Case Western Reserve University in 2020, and received the Marquette University Service Award in 2023. Today, we honor Dr. Fuller not just for his accomplishments, but for his leadership and service. Across more than 6 decades as organizer, administrator, superintendent, scholar, founder, mentor, and author, Howard Fuller has lived out a dedication to advancing the public good that is an inspiration to us all. Now, I am pleased to introduce Gerard Vandal, who nominated Dr. Fuller for this award, and will share some remarks on this year's honor. Thank you, Gerard.
I was supposed to have this ready. So thank you, Dr. Tock. The Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership aims to promulgate the ideas and work of Tommy Thompson in the fields of education, healthcare, and welfare reform, especially that which is accomplished through bipartisan political support. Wisconsin Governor and later United States Health and Human Services Secretary Tommy Thompson has many major public policy successes that are attributed to him, but perhaps none is as impactful today as his efforts to secure more education options for families outside traditional public schools. I think that's a bold statement to make, that in Wisconsin, given Governor Thompson's many education initiatives, many forget that it was during Governor Thompson's administration that the three-legged stool policy, which committed state government to fund 1/3 of local school districts' costs, was implemented. Or that it was during his administration that the health sciences facilities and program infrastructure on the UW-Madison campus was heavily invested in, and without which life-changing stem cell research, then in its infancy, would likely never to have occurred here. Our board chair, Speaker Scott Jensen, was an insider witness to all of that. All of these initiatives required support from strong-willed elected legislators on both sides of the political aisle to ensure passage and funding. Education reform at the time was considered by many to be political suicide. Wisconsin's leadership among states with strong K-12 academic achievement levels was severely challenged, especially by those states that demonstrated better reading and math proficiency among its students of color from low-income families. And truthfully, there were few of those states. A band of community activists and educators found the situation increasingly intolerable. Among them was educator, activist, and some would say that blank agitator, Howard Fuller. I don't need to cite Dr. Fuller's many accomplishments or the various political arenas in which he's fought. Dr. Tock outlined all of those admirably for you. If you want a glimpse of that, see the documentary that was recently released, A Fuller Education. It admirably also encapsulates Dr. Fuller's strong investment in this community. Suffice it to say that in this state and beyond, when you say Tommy or Howard, most people know who you're talking about. At some point, these two contemporaries in age and time came together to achieve the remarkable, breaking the stranglehold on families of very modest financial means who wanted different and better education options for their children. The need is and was painfully obvious. I'd be remiss not to mention that there were few of the state legislators of the time who wanted to tackle the problem. But two champions for families stand out: Representative Annette Polly Williams and Senator Gary George. Ultimately, sausage was made. I've known Dr. Fuller since I was a student at Marquette University, and he was an administrator in the Marquette EOP program. Our paths would cross so many times afterwards. At the House of Peace, then led by Brother Booker Ash, at events where he was honored for his community and civic leadership, but more frequently when he was superintendent of the Milwaukee Public Schools. I was a teacher in MPS at the time. I was also serving as an appointee of Governor Thompson's to the UW System Board of Regents, the only active school teacher at the time to serve. I got to tell this story, and Doc, I told you I wasn't going to make this about me, but I was teaching at Bell Middle School and sixth graders, and I invited the governor to come and speak to our sixth grade class. There's a witness here to it, Welton Dye, who was teaching with me at the time. And Dr. Fuller was also invited to come and speak to this group, joining Governor Thompson. The day before you were to come, the principal came to me and told me I needed to disinvite the governor. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone was to be at the school at 7:30 the next morning. So I told him no, and I was written up for insubordination. Formally, it was in my mailbox, school mailbox, when I was about to leave the building. And I think you had a hand in making sure that it was torn up, thrown in the trash, and I was sent on my way to continue doing what I do. So thank you, both. So I witnessed some, ever so slight, the pushback that you faced, both of you, politically. I witnessed firsthand the passion, courage, and commitment Dr. Fuller had for lifting the lives of young people. He hosted regular individual and group mentoring sessions with MPS students at Buck games or in his office. He was even the DJ at our middle school dance. His concern is sincere. He's determined, persistent, focused, approachable, and humble. Even now, Dr. Fuller's seemingly inexhaustible energy is directed towards this school and improving reading achievement for all Milwaukee students, regardless of which education program they're enrolled in. I remember reading in elementary school the story of the country mouse and the town mouse. I don't even think they have young people read that anymore. Two who are very different and yet find common ground in their struggle against cats. There are some similarities, I think, in the common cause of Howard and Tommy, fighting proverbial political cats around the cause of education. Others may view them more as Felix and Oscar of Odd Couple fame. Their collaborative efforts to change the education landscape, not just in this state, but throughout the United States, evolves and endures. I'm grateful to consider both my brother, mentor, and friend. And I'm very honored to present to you Dr. Howard Fuller as this year's recipient of the Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership Award. And now I'd like to invite Kwame Green, founding faculty of the Howard Fuller Academy.
Good afternoon. Dr. Howard L. Fuller. Man goes by many names. You may know him as Dr. Fuller, Howard, Dr., Pops, Owusu, Fuller, or my favorite, Doc. It doesn't matter how you have come to know him. It matters that you have come to know him. I met Doc almost 22 years ago when I joined the staff of a new school called CEO Leadership Academy. Prior to joining the staff, I knew of him. I mean, he was already a legend by that time. But I did not know him. The process of getting to know him happened over the course of the last 21 plus years. Over the decades, I've gotten to know him not only as a leader, but also as a person and as a man, and I am a better person for it. Not only have I witnessed the phenomenon that is Dr. Fuller, I got to experience some of it firsthand, and it has been quite remarkable. Now, I began my foray into education as an English teacher. As such, I value and I love words, so I use the word remarkable intentionally. The word remarkable is defined as something worthy of notice, attention, or admiration due to being unusual, extraordinary, or exceptional. By definition, Doc is remarkable. He's extraordinary, a little unusual, and absolutely exceptional. I'm honored to be able to share some of my thoughts about the man that Doc is. I could run down his list of accomplishments, but that would take up the entire afternoon. And as my predecessor said, I'm sure you learned about many of them while watching his documentary, A Fuller Education. The fact that people thought enough of his life to create, produce, and nationally disseminate a documentary about him lets you know that he's remarkable. Through his tireless work for justice and children in particular, Doc has impacted many lives in many ways. He set an example for those of us who are inspired by him to aspire to. Selfishly, I want to share a few of the ways Doc has impacted me. Now, this was difficult to sum up the impact that Doc has had on me. As a founding member of this organization, I've had the privilege of working beside him in a variety of capacities, in developing the direction of our school, in public protests, in a few covert operations, shepherding students through new experiences, and even co-DJing prom. The boat was rocking. I've also had the privilege of witnessing him in a variety of different settings, engaging with our students, interacting with politicians, and addressing hundreds and hundreds of people. No matter the capacity or audience, I have noticed several constants in him that have impacted me professionally and personally. First, he puts the well-being of children first. His steadfastness in putting the needs of our children and our people first influences my approach to education and operating as a part of this organization. His genuine care for the well-being of kids is inspiring. When making any decisions that will impact the lives of students, I consider how it will affect our kids and our community. Doc's example helps me keep that perspective. He is also diligent. He is both persistent and consistent in his mission to ensure that our people, specifically our children, are considered and valued in a world that says differently. He does so despite the insurmountable odds against him and us. He stands fast despite the scope of the work. He not only shows up, but he does so prepared and sharp. The breadth and depth of knowledge and understanding he possesses is incredible. I can't tell you the number of quotes he's given me or books he's recommended for me to read, and I wonder how can he keep track of all of this stuff. It inspires me to show up as my best self, not just as an example for our kids, but for those who also disregard this work that we do. My favorite, he is always himself. Whether in a room full of multimillionaires, powerful politicians, or HFCA students, Doc remains the same. He knows who he is and what he stands for. When he has something to say, he says it, passionately and unapologetically, no matter the audience. He is always one of the smartest and coolest people in any room, just by being who he is. I love that about him. This reminds me to always remain who I am. Doc, given all that you have done and continue to do, the time I'm allotted today would not even begin to do who you are and what you have done with your life justice. You are a bad man. But you know. Throughout our journey, I have often been in awe. Your vision and energy at the start of all this fueled a little staff of 10 people to believe we could make a difference by sending kids to and through college, and we did, through the dark days of our school. You held fast, ensuring that we would make it through, and we did. Walking through a burned out building while you asked if we could see the vision of our next school building, we couldn't, but we trusted that you could, and we did. Protests at the Capitol with our kids in tow, plane rides across the country to take students to visit some of our nation's most prestigious universities, making them try different weird foods in Chinatown, conferences, meetings, visitors, tours. Just to witness how you move through these was a privilege and has impacted me greatly. Now, to say that Doc has had an impact on this world is an understatement. Many of us in this room have had our lives impacted by Doc, and it's important that he knows that. You see, what I've come to observe about individuals who are so impactful is that they are so busy doing the work that they are often unaware of the impact they have actually made. So it's important for those of us who have been impacted by them, loved and inspired by them, to let them know. But I need your help, all right? So if you've ever been impacted through a personal conversation you have had with Doc, raise your hand. If you've ever been impacted by a cause that he has championed, raise your hand. If you've ever been impacted after hearing him speak by something he has said, raise your hand. And if he has ever fought for a person or a group of people that are important to you, please raise your hand. Look around at all the lives that have been impacted by this one man. And this is just one room in one building. Keep in mind all of those who aren't here who have been impacted by this one man. It's a testament to the difference one life can make. Not everyone can claim that. Not everyone is remarkable. Doc, I thank you. I thank you for the lives you've touched through your work, your activism, and your life. Thousands upon thousands of people have had the opportunity to pursue various avenues of education and improve their lives because of you. You have emboldened many, including myself, to stand up for what is right and to pursue justice and to chase their dreams, to stand boldly in the face of opposition and demand what is rightfully theirs. Thank you. Thank you for being a beacon of light in a world that is sometimes mired in darkness, to provide direction and a way towards something better. Thank you for the personal sacrifices you made. Thanks, Doc, for leaving this place better than you found it and contributing to helping me become a better person. Thank you for being remarkable.
I'm a senior here at Dr. Howard Fuller. When I first met Dr. Fuller, it was, I think, a few days after I transferred schools. I started off at Riverside and I didn't like it. I ended up switching over during the middle of first semester. And I struggled making friends. I really only spoke to my relatives that attended the school, and I didn't know who I was. And the first time he met me, we were in morning meeting, which is, I love morning meetings now because of him. We were in morning meeting and he noticed me sitting by myself and he came and sat next to me. And he said, I haven't seen you before. What's your name? I told him my name. He asked me my interests. We had a slight conversation. And he looked at me and he said, I see potential in you. Growing up, nobody really ever told me that. So hearing that from somebody as high as him, it really meant a lot and it really pushed me. After that, I started getting good grades. I started making friends. I aspired to be similar to him, and he ended up taking me under his wing, and I became one of his favorite students. In doing so, he made sure that I had a lot of connections. He made sure that I knew that I was supported regardless of what I was going through. I believe my sophomore or junior year, he invited me with him to go to a conference. And I remember sitting in the car with him after everybody was speaking so highly of him and talking about how he changed the world and changed people's lives. And I remember turning over to him and going, one day I hope I'm as good as you. One day I hope that I influence the world as much as you did. And he looked at me and he said, you're not going to be just like me. You're not going to be as good as me. You're going to be better. that, I feel like, lit a fire under me. It made me realize that I didn't have to just strive to be somebody that was already existing in this world. It made me realize that I need to be somebody that isn't in this world. Growing up, I didn't really look at college as something that I would be doing. And Dr. Fuller made sure to instill in me that I deserved college and college needed me, not that I needed college. And I'm happy to announce that in the fall I will be attending college to become a neuropsychologist, and it's all thanks to Dr. Fuller.
Larique, that was beautiful. Alex Tock, thank you very much for being the head of the Thompson Center. You do a great job, and I appreciate it very much, and thank you for your rendition of all of the accomplishments of our honoree today, Dr. Howard Fuller. I also am very happy that Ruth Brosh, who actually runs the office and is here and does a great job, and I thank her, as well as my very good friend Scott Jetson, who was my chief of staff when I was governor, and is also on the board, runs the board for the Thompson Center. Thank you, Scott. And Jim Langdon, my associate and individual who helped me at the university so much. I thank all of you. Gerard Randall, you're like a brother to me, and even though we have different mothers, I still love you. And I certainly am happy that you're here. Gerard got great news yesterday. He's been accepted to get a kidney transplant, and I am absolutely honored and privileged. And he has been suffering for so long, so it's fantastic that you are going to receive that kidney and give you new life. Kwame, your words were wonderful. You are what Dr. Fuller always looked out to and said, the leadership in the black community is broad, it's great, it's distinguished, and you epitomize all of that. And I absolutely, it was nice walking around with the students today, and they all talked, when I went up in your office, they all were telling me how great you are. And so your students love you like I believe everybody who gets to know you does, and thank you very much. The students, Lyric, Jackson, you epitomize what is the best in high school students all over this great state. And it's an honor for you, honor for me, to hear you speak about, so glowingly about Dr. Howard Fuller. And what I love is that in Dr. Fuller, I've never been in a high school where everybody walking up and down the aisles says hello and has a smile on their face and says, thanks for coming. I applaud the students of this great school. You're singularly some of the finest young men and women I've ever had the opportunity to visit while at a school. And I can only say I wish I was here tomorrow, because I understand tomorrow's party day. And all the students are going to be able to identify where they're going to go on to college. Everybody in this great school has been accepted at a place of higher learning. I applaud all of you for what you do, but the real singular leader in all of this is Dr. Howard Fuller. Howard Fuller is the type of person, is to know him, is to love him. He can be cantankerous, he can be argumentative, and when you get into an argument, you never know if you are ever able to convince him. Did you ever know that? Because he walks away, and I don't think you've changed his mind one bit. But he influenced you, and he applauded you, and he had the greatest greatest admiration for you to talk to him. Howard Fuller. I got to know this man when I was the minority leader in the state legislature. He used to come in pushing different programs for then Governor Tony Earl. And we didn't always agree. But the wonderful thing about Howard Fuller is you could sit down, differ with him, and not be disagreeable. Every time that I had a disagreement with Howard Fuller, I left that meeting, whether it would be in my office, his office, on the floor of the legislature, or in the governor's office, I felt enriched. I felt that this person, this individual, Howard Fuller, always had in his mind and believed strongly in the best interest of all Americans, all Wisconsinites, and especially all children. I've never in my life met anybody with the passion of Howard Fuller, believing that every boy and girl in our society can be a leader. Every boy and girl, no matter your color, your creed, your sex, every boy and girl in America deserves the best, deserves the opportunity, deserves to be able to achieve whatever they want. Howard Fuller not only lived that dream, he believes that dream, and still today pursues that dream. He's an individual that I think is one of the finest individuals I've ever had to meet. And to be able to come in here and see the Howard Fuller, the Dr. Howard Fuller Academy, this wonderful building is a testament to what Howard believes. Every young man and woman deserves the best. This school is the best. To have 100% of the students, year after year, be able to be accepted into higher learning. Schools all over this country tells me what this building really has accomplished. It has accomplished Howard Fuller's dream, the dream of the best for all of the students. And I can't tell you how honored I am that Howard Fuller is being honored for the scholarship. Howard Fuller, you deserve every possible tribute in this great city of Milwaukee, great state of Wisconsin, because you are one of the finest individuals I have met, and one of the finest individuals walking the face of the earth. Thank you, and congratulations.
Yeah, I remember. I'm going to tell that story. First of all, it is truly like an honor, and I really mean this, because, you know, I've been fortunate in my life to get a lot of awards, and you're always supposed to tell people how great it is. And some of them weren't so great, but, you know, I had to say that. And so, but in this instance, it really is true that I am really honored to receive the Tommy Thompson Distinguished Public Leadership Award. I want to thank Ruth for contacting me and staying in touch and make sure that everything worked out. I want to thank Gerard, who I know was instrumental in recommending me in the first place. I want to thank Kwame for all that you said, and obviously Lyric for her words. And I want to thank anybody who had anything to do with this, Scott, all of you all who are part of the Institute for Autonomy. And I want to thank the student ambassadors, for greeting everyone. I want to thank the students who are here. Had I known, we would have filled the room up with students, but I just want them to know how proud I am of them every single day. And that's really important. So, and then finally, I want to thank my friend, Tommy Thompson. The two of us are like a testament to how two people from radically different origins who probably have very different views on a lot of issues, how two people like that can find a way to become friends. And this is important for these students to understand that this can in fact happen. Because in the world that we're living in today, it's hard to do that, to be just brutally honest. And so to have this opportunity to thank Tommy, not just for this award, but for our friendship, is very important to me. Let me tell you a couple stories about me and him. So when Tony Earl was the governor of our state, and he appointed me to a position as the secretary of the Department of Employment Relations. So that meant that I was over, ultimately, because I had to get the law changed, which Tommy criticized at first and then used it more ruthlessly than any other governor in the history of the state. But anyway, I digress. So, so when I got appointed, because he was the leader of the Republican Party, who at that time was in the minority, they asked him, what do you think about Tony Earl appointing Fuller to be in charge of employment relations? I'm going to quote. He said, this is like putting the fox in charge of the hen house. Now, first of all, like I said at Tony's services, I didn't know what that meant. But he's from the country, man. He's from like Elroy, Wisconsin, right? So, I mean, I assume all the people in Elroy knew what that meant. I didn't know what that meant coming from Milwaukee. I mean, I knew what it meant, but I wasn't trying to hear that. So, so when I got appointed, when they finally appointed me and I went through the whole process, because he was the minority leader on the committee that I had to report to, it was called Joker, which was the right name for it, Joker, the Joint Committee on Employment Relations. And so because he was, they called him Dr. No. That was his nickname in Madison, because he was no to everything. So I knew that even though I was going to bring stuff to the committee, I knew he was going to say no. But I thought, honestly, it was my responsibility before every committee meeting to go over and tell him this is what you're actually going to say no to. And that's how we became friends. And then when I learned he was going to run for governor against the person that I was working for, I got him see, because he's from the country and wear these tractor hats. So I told him, look, man, if you're going to come down to Milwaukee, you need to get a different hat. So I actually went out and bought him a hat that I thought was appropriate if he was going to be coming down to Milwaukee, because I said, you don't want to look country while you're down in the city. And so these are a few of the stories. I never could have become superintendent, by the way, if it had not been for him, because they had to change the state law for me to be the superintendent, and he had to sign it, or else it could never have happened. And he signaled that if you get this through the legislature, I will sign it. That's what allowed me to become the superintendent. You students should know you wouldn't be in this building if it wasn't for him. There's a woman whose picture is out there by the elevator named Annette Polly Williams. It was Polly's courage and his support that created the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program, which was the precursor to this school here, which is a charter school. And let me tell you how this happened. And I don't know if Tommy remembers this, but the Milwaukee Parental Choice Program, which is a private school voucher program, when it was passed, we were taken to court. And so there was an injunction. And so Tommy was trying to figure out what kind of education initiative can I have? And the first thing he floated, which we told him was a bad idea, was to take over the Milwaukee Public Schools. It's like, Tommy, you don't want to do that, man. So he was getting ready, this is a true story, he's getting ready to do his budget address. And so it was like, I'm going to say like a Tuesday, whatever it was. And so he was going to give the speech the next day. So he called Tim Sheehy, me, Susan Mitchell, and a couple other people up to his office and said, I need to announce an education initiative in my speech tomorrow. And what we suggested, because I had been involved in the National Charter School movement, was you should announce an independent charter school program, because we already had a charter school law, but it only allows school boards to create charter schools. And so our suggestion to him was, you should say in Milwaukee, you're going to allow for independent charters. UWM can charter, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, the City of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Public Schools, and Milwaukee Area Technical College. That was our suggestion to him. He said, fine, Fuller, you call the chancellor, and you call the head of the city council. So I was given the job of calling these people and saying to them, tomorrow the governor is going to announce that you are going to be an authorizer. I know you didn't have nothing to do with it, you didn't plan it, but he's the governor and he got the budget, and I would suggest that if you can't support this, that you just mumble. Just act like, but don't oppose this. This is true. He gave me that responsibility. And he was the governor. What am I going to say? No, I ain't going to do that, man. So I'm just trying to get you all to understand how relationships work. Because I think that today, that people are much more transactional than they are relational. And the kind of relationship that we built over time was being relational and not transactional. So those are my Tommy stories. I got others, but I'll just stop there. So here's what I want to say. And I think this is, it's just me. I got to say this. So back during the time of the Vietnam War, a group that was protesting the war was called Clergy and Laymen. All you students can Google or study the Vietnam War. But this particular group was opposed to the Vietnam War. And they came out with a document laying out their opposition. And the opening line in that document was, a time comes when silence is betrayal. And I think we're at that moment in American history today. I think that this is one of those times in our city, in our state, and in our country that to be silent is betrayal. And so therefore, I cannot accept this prestigious award without acknowledging the fact that there are so many young black and brown children who reside in neighborhoods that surround this beautiful building that will never be recognized as I am being recognized today because we as a country continues to fail them. We are not ensuring that they get a quality education. We're not making sure that they have adequate housing, adequate food, adequate clothing. We talk all the time about how important our children are to us. That's a lie. Our children are not important in this country, and we need to quit telling that lie. And I won't be a part of promoting that lie. And so what I'm saying to you all is, while I'm, like I said, honored, I have the responsibility to speak on the conditions that our children are facing in this city, in this state, in this country. And in addition to that, there are politicians and their fellow travelers who are trying to undermine our multiracial democracy in this country in very real ways. And while they talk about an America that belongs to all of us, they are working every single day to deny the families of the children in this building the right to vote. I cannot be silent. I can't act like that's not happening and just shake his hand. I'm not like that. The reality of it is a person like me who has a platform like this has to speak, because not to speak at this moment in time is betrayal. And I will never betray them no matter what the cost is. It's unacceptable. So I'm saying to you, that those children, Lyric, all of those students you see, they're constantly on my mind all the time. Yesterday, I was over at our elementary school, and I'm looking into the bright eyes of these first, second, and third graders. And they were all around me, and, how tall are you, and how old are you, and, and then they start talking to me about what their dreams are, what they want to be when they grow up. Yet I'm looking at them, knowing that the statistics say that less than half of them will be able to realize their dreams. Not because of anything that they've done other than to be born and to live where they live and have the parents who are their parents. And I'm looking at them, knowing that they want to be all of these things, but there's so many things that are going to happen that are going to stand in the way of them realizing those dreams. And so it's, and the tragedy of this, as I said, is it's not because they're not capable. If you look around this building, you look in this room, you look in the eyes of those students right there, and you know that they are capable of great things. But in order for them to realize it, you have to truly believe in them. You have to try to truly create the things that they need to be able to realize those dreams. We are sitting in a city right now where black children have the lowest reading scores in the United States of America. And it's been that way for 30 years. People talk about it, people write about it, but how does it continue to be? Because I believe that if you actually care about something, you do something about it. If people actually cared about these children, they would not be unable to read. But yet it goes on year after year after year. And it goes on because adult interests and various institutional prerogatives take precedent over their needs and their interests. And so when you get an award like this, any of you all, and some of you may get them someday, it's incumbent on you to speak truth to the people. It's incumbent on you to talk about the realities of our lives, because this has to change. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. So again, I thank Tommy for this award. I thank anybody who had anything voted on it. I thank you for it. And I accept this award on behalf of the board, the students, the staff, the alumni of the Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy, and for the people that Dr. Howard Thurman referred to in his book, Jesus and the Disinherited. He talked about the poor, the dispossessed, and the oppressed people in this city, in this state, in this country. The people who get up every day with their backs up against the wall, trying to figure out how is survival possible. So I accept this award for them, because they can't be here like I'm blessed to be. So I accept this award for them, and I accept this award for all of the people associated with the Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and thank you especially, Dr. Fuller. It's been wonderful to hear from everyone here. And so inspirational not just to list Dr. Fuller's accomplishments, but to see firsthand the impact. I think Dr. Fuller really exemplifies something he has in common with Governor Thompson here. They both stand what you believe for what you believe in, speak for what you believe in, and work to make it happen, work to people who are very different from you to make it happen. And both their example and their friendship is a testament to that. And most of all, it's inspirational to see not just Dr. Fuller's leadership, but its transmission to the next generation. And I look forward to seeing what all of you accomplish. The last thing to say, we have cupcakes and refreshments here. If you're on the live stream, I'll eat one for you. And so please join us in cupcakes and first in one last round for Dr. Fuller. Thank you, Dr. Fuller. I'm going to try to watch the live stream. I gather there's a live stream.